You know, guys, it's not very often where the Scadmaster says that I was wrong. And today is not that day either because I was right. And what was I right about this time? I was right about people's perception of InfinityWard, especially after MW 2019 Part 2, and especially after the MW 2019 Part 3 beta, which a lot of people really seem to enjoy. And even for myself, I will admit that the MW 2019 Part 3 beta was one of my better experiences that I've had in like the last 4 or 5 years of COD. Now, is that saying much? Absolutely the fuck not, but I will say, I enjoyed it much more than MW 2019 and 2019 Part 2. And I know a lot of people get upset when I talk trash about MW 2019, but guys, the truth is, it's not my cup of tea, okay? Like, I'd rather get my ballsack blown to smithereens twice than play MW 2019's multiplayer or try to enjoy it. And so it's very surprising that a Modern Warfare title by Sledgehammer Games is being better well received than InfinityWard's Modern Warfare games. And I think it was made very, very obvious what the community's reactions and thoughts were to InfinityWard after the beta when InfinityWard tweeted this out. They said, "We received feedback that, with all of the haunting activities in the mix, Massive Resurgence felt a bit too chaotic. To alleviate this, we temporarily reduced the player count from 150 to 100. This lower player count retains blah blah blah, we don't really give a flying fuck." I mean, InfinityWard literally caters to gooch lickers, and over here on the channel, we don't believe the gooch lickers deserve human rights. So what does that say about InfinityWard as developers? We don't give a flying fuck about them. And just to push it a little bit further, if Sledgehammer Games is outdoing you, there is seriously something mentally wrong with you, okay? Now, it's not often that InfinityWard talks about feedback or even a response to feedback. And I mean, if you go through the responses to this tweet, they were getting Kentucky fried. I mean, these guys were getting slammed in the McDonald's fryer, okay? Like, nobody was holding back against InfinityWard. And some notable gooch lickers even had something to say to InfinityWard. I mean, look at Modern Warzone and Charlie Intel. Listening to feedback? Really? So now you're listening to feedback. Didn't see people complaining about it being too chaotic anywhere I looked. Just complaints that people can third party the Pharaoh and the Butcher. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what the flying fuck they're talking about. I don't play Resurgence or whatever this new Halloween shit is. I'm sure as hell not going back to MW 2019 Part 2, and especially not Warzone. So I got no idea what this whole Pharaoh Butcher thing is that's going on, or why people are annoyed. But that's not really the point. I don't really need to play the game to understand that InfinityWard is not really with the shits when it comes to listening to the community or doing something with common sense. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. If your biggest fanboys and your biggest gooch lickers are criticizing you, you are doing something terribly wrong. I mean, even Modern Warzone comes back with another reply saying, InfinityWard says that they reduced the player count from 150 to 100 in Massive Resurgence because of feedback that the mode felt a bit too chaotic. Many thought it was because the servers couldn't handle 150 players, but I guess InfinityWard suddenly decided to act on player feedback. And I don't know how long this has been a problem with Resurgence. I have no knowledge of this at all, guys. All I can tell you is, it is very, very foreign that InfinityWard listens to feedback or responds to feedback in a way that makes sense, okay? You remember the whole like, oh, we don't want to add dead silence or red dots to the game because the game plays better without it. And my first reaction was, well, how could you say that when nobody in the community has played your game with red dots enabled or with a ninja perk? Their reasoning never made any sense. And then we get MW 2019 Part 3's beta where those two things are enabled, and voila, people are enjoying their experiences. Would you look at that? Who would have fucking thought? But anyways, guys, I've said this before many times. InfinityWard does not deserve to be developers any longer. Now, are they going to continue being developers even with Microsoft taking the reins? Yes. Okay, like I don't see InfinityWard not being developers in the future. They've already talked about Modern Warfare 2019 Part fucking 4, which is already extremely sad and disappointing to hear. But now that we know Sledgehammer can do their job better than they can, I mean, it seriously makes me wonder, why are InfinityWard still gonna be developers? I don't understand it. I mean, this one guy in the replies really painted the picture perfectly. This comes out from, I don't even know, Stephen L. Hornick, okay, he says, I'm not for anyone losing jobs, but I think Microsoft needs to seriously look into InfinityWard. This is not the InfinityWard we grew up with. Your playtesters are awful, your marketing team is awful, you listen to literally no one, you made the absolute worst changes that none of your fans wanted, your lead designers are awful, can't make a new map for multiplayer if your life depended on it. We've been playing COD for 20 years and you're catering to people who started playing your game 3 years ago instead of the vets. Just plain awful, new leadership needed.
Now listen! That's called motherfucking bars, nigga! You know nothing about that!
And look guys, even though I'm extremely content with people finally seeing the true colors of InfinityWard, let's not get this twisted, okay? The SCAD Master has been talking down on InfinityWard for quite some time, okay? Since 2019, and like I said earlier in this video, I know a lot of people have a soft spot for that game. SCAD Master has no mercy, okay? That game blows baboon cock, okay? But specifically with MW 2019 Part 2, I have criticized InfinityWard for a lot of things, especially how they respond to the community. And I'm not gonna lie, back then the SCAD Master was met with literally nothing but people disagreeing, people being extremely upset that I'm calling them out, people telling me I'm hating for views and InfinityWard are the best devs and all this kind of shit. Well, would you look at how the tables turn now, guys? And I'm not trying to criticize the COD community, so to speak, right now, but you know, you kind of shat on me when I was in the minority, but now that people finally agree with what I gotta say, it's just kind of odd how this thing works out literally every single time I talk about it. I mean, I've been saying that InfinityWard needs to be scrapped. I've been saying that their playtesters are god-awful. I've been saying they can't create any good maps to save their fucking lives. And since the beginning, I've been throwing this term around specifically for InfinityWard. They are anti-community, and I think now that InfinityWard is actually doing something for the community, it's like nobody's having it, as they should, okay? Like, InfinityWard deserves zero praise. Like I said, if Sledgehammer Games is doing your job better than you fucking suck. Like, you are ass. So when you give this pile of dog shit over to Sledgehammer Games, and they start wiping the shit away with their tongues and actually giving us what's at the core of it, of course, it's gonna be good. MW 2019 Part 3, it's not any type of top 5 COD at all whatsoever, not even close, but if you compare it to the last like 4 or 5 games, oh, it's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. And while we're on the topic of InfinityWard games, guys, I don't think I can go back to MW 2019 Part 2. It's not because I enjoyed MW 2019 Part 3 so much, it's more in the sense that I'm like uninstalling my update. Like I'm undoing the patch. You guys know how I feel about 2019 Part 3. It's just the patched, updated DLC version of 2019 Part 2. That's literally what it is. It's like going from an iPhone 14 down to like the iPhone 9. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to do that? And I know there's this whole Halloween haunting event, but guys, the shit is way too late. I know there's people that are praising this Halloween event. I still have not played MW 2019 Part 2 in like 2.5 months now, and I don't plan on playing it before 2019 Part 3 comes out. Like, I've been seeing a lot of people really praise this event and say that it's like the best since MW 2019, and don't get me wrong, the shit looks cool. I know there's like daily challenges and you can earn new camos or all of these crossover characters. It's cool and all, but you realize we're like nearing the end of October, right? The game's been out for almost a year at this point, or it's been over a year now. Like, why do I care at this point? It's been so long. We've been talking to you and giving you the easiest feedback to follow since fucking September of last year. Since you gave us the beta for this game, we've been giving you feedback, and you've literally turned a blind eye and straight up said no. We tell you your game would play better if it were faster, if it had red dots, if it had dead silence, and you said no. Then a year later, Sledgehammer Games literally takes your own product, your own creation, puts their name on it, takes into consideration the feedback that we gave you a year ago, and that game's already like twice as good as yours. Now once again, don't get this twisted, that's not saying much, okay? Like, my fucking grandmother could have done this with her fucking eyes closed, but still, I mean, Activision and Call of Duty's official Twitters were putting out trailers advertising dead silence, advertising advertising slide canceling, advertising fucking red dots on the minimap. That's humiliating. If I worked at InfinityWard and I saw that, well, I mean, I probably wouldn't think much of it because I'm fucking stupid in that case, but if I had any level of common sense, I'd really be thinking to myself like, wow, I really just wasted everybody's time for an entire year straight. And once again, when it comes to this whole haunting event, yeah, it looks cool. Will I play it? No. You had your chance to reel me in for an entire year straight, and every single time I try to speak for the community and relay some of the things that I was seeing that the community was saying, InfinityWard did absolutely nothing. And now, surprise, surprise, the community is against InfinityWard, as they should be. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Do you think InfinityWard deserves to make more COD titles in the future? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos. And yeah, guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Toodles.